Hello, welcome to another edition of the Mexico and the World podcast, the podcast so that we can talk about celebrations, events, and more about Mexico and the world. On this occasion, we are going to talk about an important topic worldwide. Precisely, let's start with this topic of great importance to world level. What is Labor Day on May 1st? As you know, this is very important because of all the demonstrations and movements that exist in this regard every year. But we must also consider and take into account the need that we human beings have at a global level. From all over the world, to have a job, to have a decent life. How do you say it? Because before I mentioned that we have the opportunity to have that job that we need that allows us and our family to have a decent life. That is the most important thing, that we all have this opportunity and this facility to have that job that we need to support ourselves and have a decent quality of life in. That we can all have it and that we have balance in our lives, because it is also important that there is a work balance between men and women, that there is a balance in what is the salary issue, and you know it is a very extensive topic, so we have to keep it in mind in this commemoration of the 1st May, and let us not forget everything that is behind this commemoration. Now we are going to talk about another topic. What is May 2nd? What is World Fair Trade Day? Because as you know, both in Mexico and in the world, after it is difficult, what is the management of trade, and that it is fair trade for reasons that you know. What is FIUCA? That piracy that exports, imports, that permits, that taxes, and this later leads to trade having all these problems, and that the public also inadvertently has to do with this, because after what is the public begins, the client begins to buy in the illegal trade, unfortunately, and this gives rise to his illegal trade to follow. The important thing both in Mexico and in the world is that the countries, the government and others support each other so that there is fair and legal trade, and this supports the economy and the families of each country. So let's keep this in mind and think about, let's reflect on this. We have on May 3rd the Day of Freedom of the Press. This is very important worldwide, because what would we do if the press did not exist and we did not have this opportunity to be informed? It is very important, and you know that both in Mexico and in the world and today. At this moment in Mexico, even journalists are putting their lives at risk to do their job, so let's take this into account. What is so important about freedom of expression and freedom of the press? Let's support what the press says and everything behind it, because, as I commented later, it is very difficult for journalists, and more so in countries such as Mexico, unfortunately. Because their work is very dangerous, let us keep in mind what it means to be a journalist, for example. And for there to be freedom of the press so that we are well informed and have the facility to find everything that is happening in the world, even in internet, radio, social networks. Let us also support what that freedom of the press and express our support for journalists and freedom of expression. This is all for the moment in this edition, but as always, I did not want to say goodbye without thanking you for listening to us and reminding you of our social networks email. Podcast Mexico and the World at gmail.com, Twitter, at Mexico the World, Facebook, Mexico and the World Podcast, YouTube, Mexico and the World. Thanks again for listening to us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next edition. Thanks, bye.